Speculation made people rich, but it won't keep them there. The last cycle rewarded hype, coins with no product, narratives with no roadmap, communities with no customers. And for a while it worked, because when the market runs on emotion, utility takes a back seat. But that window is closing fast. Over the next 24 months, we're going to witness a complete transformation, not of crypto, but of the global financial system itself. Not a bull run, not a seasonal rally, a $2 trillion structural shift. And this shift won't reward your favorite meme coin. It won't favor the latest L2 pump, the AI-flavored tokens, or the next flashy rebrand. It will reward one thing only: use, because the world doesn't want speculation anymore. It wants infrastructure that works. We're entering a phase where blockchain isn't a bet. It's a back end. Not a protest against the system, but the plumbing of the new one. And the building blocks of that system are already being chosen. Tokenized real-world assets, RWAs, central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, instant cross-border settlement, interoperable enterprise systems, regulated programmable stablecoins. These are not buzzwords. They're mandates already being implemented by governments, banks, and institutional giants. And here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. 99% of crypto is noise. The remaining 1% will quietly become the digital pipes that move money, data, and value in the real world. Not the loudest coins, not the most viral coins, not the ones with the best memes or influencers, just the ones that work, the ones with uptime, the ones with interoperability, the ones that can pass regulatory audits and plug into traditional finance without breaking it. That's where the real growth is heading. And those are the projects that will define the next decade of finance. The $2 trillion shift has already begun. This isn't speculation. It's not a theory. It's not one of those someday narratives that people talk about at conferences and forget the next week. It's already in motion. Across the globe, governments, central banks, financial institutions, and infrastructure providers are moving billions in resources, time, and strategy toward one goal: bringing traditional finance on-chain. In 2024 alone, BlackRock tokenized U.S. Treasuries and launched public blockchain pilot programs. SWIFT completed cross-chain settlement trials with multiple blockchains, showing how tokenized assets could move between institutions. The Bank for International Settlements, BIS, led multiple projects: Agora, Mariana, Mbridge, each focused on programmable, regulated digital money across borders. Over 130 countries are now actively exploring or piloting CBDCs, with major economies like China, India, the EU, and Brazil already testing production-ready systems. The IMF, World Bank, and WEF are publicly endorsing tokenization as the next phase of global financial modernization. This isn't just institutional interest, it's institutional deployment, and it's accelerating, because legacy finance has finally recognized what crypto got right: faster settlement, transparent transactions, immutable audit trails, 24/7 global access to capital and liquidity, programmable money for programmable economies. But here's the key: they're not building this future on top of meme coins. They're not waiting for L1s still fixing uptime or debating governance. And they're definitely not betting on projects that can't pass a basic compliance test. They're choosing infrastructure-grade protocols. Chains that were built not for hype but for integration. Protocols with speed, finality, and flexibility baked in. Chains that can scale and adapt to legal frameworks, not fight them. Because this isn't a bull market for crypto. It's a build market for digital finance. And the ones being integrated into that system aren't speculative assets, they're invisible infrastructure. Why 99% of coins won't survive. The crypto market today is bloated. Tens of thousands of tokens, thousands of chains, hundreds of L1s and L2s claiming to be faster, cheaper, more scalable. Countless ecosystems. Most with no users, no partners, no revenue. And for a while that didn't matter. Because during the speculation era, what drove value wasn't utility, it was attention. The louder you were, the more capital you attracted. Narratives replaced fundamentals. Followers replaced users. Token burns replaced working products. But in a world where central banks, institutions, and fintech giants are moving real money on-chain, the standard has changed. This is no longer a playground. It's becoming infrastructure. And infrastructure doesn't reward hype. It rewards reliability. So here's the brutal truth. Most coins won't make it. Not because they rug or crash, but because they simply won't be needed. Let's be honest. Most tokens can't support enterprise-grade throughput. They weren't designed with regulatory compliance in mind. They lack stable governance or long-term incentives to ensure security. Their communities are built around hype cycles, not real adoption. They don't integrate with legacy systems and never plan to. What problem do they solve? What market are they serving? What institution can trust them? If the answer isn't clear, those tokens will vanish. Not in a dramatic implosion, but in silence. Forgotten as the capital flows toward chains that are actually useful. We've seen this movie before. The dot-com bubble didn't kill the internet. It killed companies that had no business model. And in the ashes, giants like Amazon, Google, and PayPal emerged because they solved real problems. Crypto is going through the same transition. Only the chains with real-world utility, regulatory readiness, and institutional-grade design will remain. The rest? They were never meant to scale beyond speculation, and that's all they'll ever be. The utility protocol set to explode. If 99% of the crypto market is noise, then the remaining 1% deserves serious attention. These aren't meme coins, trendjackers, or temporary hype plays. They're utility-driven protocols designed to solve real problems, the kind that governments, banks, and global markets are actively trying to fix. What do they have in common? Compliance baked into their architecture. Speed, finality, and reliability under pressure. Enterprise-grade integrations often already live. Infrastructure that works quietly and scales globally. Clear, well-defined use cases in trillion-dollar industries. These are the protocols that will survive the reset. More than that, they will thrive in it. Let's break down some of the most important contenders. 1. Chainlink Link, the Oracle backbone. No smart contract is useful without external data. Chainlink provides the trusted data feeds that DeFi, tokenized RWAs, insurance, stablecoins, and even central bank pilots rely on. Integrated with Swift for cross-chain token transfers. Trusted by Google Cloud, AWS, and hundreds of protocols. Enables verifiable randomness, proof of reserve, and real-world events on-chain. Powers everything from carbon markets to decentralized insurance. Chainlink isn't just an Oracle network. It's the data layer for Web3 and institutional finance. 2. Quant QNT, the interoperability standard. Most blockchains are siloed. Quant's overledger lets banks, governments, and enterprises connect multiple ledgers, public or private, without compromising compliance. ISO 20022 ready. Integrated with Oracle, SIA, and multiple central bank pilots. No token inflation, fixed supply, and high enterprise demand. Positioned as middleware for regulated financial infrastructure. Quant isn't trying to replace banks. It's helping them evolve. Securely, efficiently, and legally. 3. Hedera, HBAR. Enterprise-grade finality. Hedera runs on Hashgraph, not blockchain, allowing it to process thousands of transactions per second, with finality in 3 to 5 seconds and ultra-low fees. Backed by Google, IBM, Dell, Boeing, Standard Bank, and more. Used for digital identity, carbon credit tokenization, and CBDC testing. Extremely energy efficient and stable, no outages, no congestion. Governance through a rotating council of trusted global firms. If institutions want speed, finality, and compliance, Hedera is quietly checking every box. 4. XDC Network, XDC, Real-World Trade Finance. XDC is built for tokenizing trade instruments, invoices, letters of credit, and other cross-border documentation. ISO 20022 compliant. Already integrated with financial institutions and trade finance consortia. Designed for settlement layers in real-world markets, not speculation. Fast, low-fee, scalable, made for enterprise automation. In a world where trillions of dollars in global trade remain paper-based, XDC could become the digital engine for modern commerce. 5. SUI, Smart Assets and Ownership at Scale. SUI is a next-gen smart contract platform with a unique object-based architecture, ideal for digital assets that need to scale efficiently. Built by former Meta, Facebook engineers. High throughput and parallel processing for asset ownership. Still early, but with growing attention from gaming, identity, and tokenization platforms. Funded by top-tier VCs and aligned with enterprise applications. If SUI continues delivering on its technical roadmap, it could become the go-to chain for real-world asset tokenization and ownership protocols. 6. Veracity VRA, Fixing Digital Ad Fraud. Veracity's proof-of-view protocol solves one of the biggest problems in online advertising, fake views and ad fraud. Already used in esports streaming and digital ad campaigns. Real-world revenue and active user base. Bridges traditional Web 2 content with on-chain verification. Addresses a $500+ billion advertising industry plagued by inefficiency. It's not flashy, but it solves a problem that costs advertisers billions every year. The pattern is clear. These protocols didn't rise by accident. They aren't chasing hype or headlines. They're focused on infrastructure, integration, and impact. They're working with governments, enterprises, standards bodies, legacy systems. They aren't asking how to beat Ethereum. They're asking, how do we serve the future of digital finance? And in a $2 trillion shift toward tokenization, digitized trade, and regulated stablecoins, these are the chains that will get chosen. Not because they're trendy, but because they're useful. Why this changes everything. This isn't just another market rotation. It's not a new theme. It's a hard reset. For over a decade, crypto has been defined by speculation, fast money, hype cycles, endless launches. And while that phase brought innovation and global attention, it also created noise. Thousands of coins with no purpose, no users, and no path to sustainability. That era is ending, because now the real world is stepping in. Governments are digitizing currency. Banks are moving settlements on-chain. Global trade is migrating to tokenized platforms. And capital is no longer interested in what might work one day. It's focused on what already does. The shift is from narrative to necessity. For the first time, crypto isn't trying to disrupt the system from the outside. It's being absorbed into the core of the system itself, not as a novelty but as infrastructure. And that changes everything. Hype is no longer enough. Branding won't save weak tech. Community size doesn't equal long-term value. Influence without integration is meaningless. In this new era, value is driven by utility, what a protocol enables, powers, connects, or automates. The tokens that survive this shift won't be the most traded. They'll be the most used. Why utility protocols will lead the next decade. The project's position for the next wave: Link, QNT, HBAR, XDC, SUI, VRA, and others like them aren't trying to win over crypto traders. They're integrating with payment networks, legacy software, trade finance rails, compliance protocols, real-world digital identity systems, governments and regulators. They're not building for speculative momentum. They're building for mission-critical infrastructure, the kind of systems that move trillions in value, operate 24/7/365, require transparency, security, and legal clarity, can't afford to fail. And while most of the market chases the next hype cycle, these protocols are becoming the digital plumbing of the global economy. The new crypto economy is already here. By the time most investors realize the shift has happened, it will be too late. The capital will already be allocated. The integrations will already be signed. The infrastructure will already be live, running beneath the surface, quietly powering the system. The future of finance won't be built on hype. It'll be built on speed, compliance, interoperability, real-world problem-solving. That's why the coins leading this $2 trillion transformation aren't the ones trending on social media. They're the ones serving the system that's replacing the old one. So the question is no longer, which coin will go 10x next, but rather, which chain will still matter when the dust settles.